Level 3 is a weird time for spellcasters. On one hand, you get 2 shiny new second level spell slots, but on the other hand, second level spell slots kinda suck. So if you've ever struggled to pick out new spells, this video is for you because today I have 5 brand new spells that you can use at your D&D table today. Let's start off with the second level bracket with a spell that I like to call Astral Debris. You call down stars from the night sky to fall upon your enemies. Designate up to 3 creatures you can see within 60 feet, and each creature must make a dexterity saving throw, taking 1d8 bludgeoning damage or half as much on a successful save. Regardless of their save, however, the stars carve out craters upon impact, creating a 5-foot radius of difficult terrain wherever they strike. But you might be thinking that it's underwhelming, so let's compare it to another similar spell, Scorching Ray. On average, Scorching Ray can deal technically up to twice the amount of damage as Astral Debris. Its main focus is the control rather than the blaster style damage of Scorching Ray. So while Astral Debris isn't pew pew fire, lasers, explosion, big numbers, the control that it brings to a battle map is well worth a page in your spellbook. Let's move on to another really fun second level spell that I call Tendrils of Twilight. Void tendrils erupt from the ground in a 30-foot radius of a point you can see within 60 feet. One tendril appears in a 5-foot space next to every creature within that radius. You can make a ranged spell attack against every creature within that area, and any creature that gets hit by the tendrils gets lashed with void energy. This restricts their movement so that any movement away from the tendril counts as difficult terrain. If a creature moves more than 10 feet away from the tendril that is gripping them, they snap and creatures immediately become frightened of the caster. Any creature that gets hit has their movement speed effectively halved, and the area in which they can move is greatly diminished. And if they decide to leave that area, they become feared, which is pretty powerful effect on its own. But that's enough of the low-level garbage. Let's kick it up a notch here and talk about the 7th level spell, Miasma. You conjure a 30-foot radius toxic miasma at a point you can see within 60 feet. That area becomes difficult terrain as it slowly melts into a corrosive acid. Any creature that enters that area or starts their turn there must make a strength saving throw or become grappled by the marsh, taking 8d8 acid damage. If they succeed on their throw, they only take half damage and they're not grappled. Since it creates difficult terrain, it slows enemy movement, regardless of if they become grappled or not. And if they do become grappled, then they need to break out of it on their turn, effectively guaranteeing they will spend at least 2 rounds within the miasma, which will then attempt to grapple them again at the beginning of their next turn. Comparably to other 7th level spells, the damage really isn't anything to write home about, but considering that it affects such a large area, you can probably see why I placed it at 7th level. Also, the spell is concentration, so keep that in mind. Going back to these 2nd level spells, we have something for you divine casters out there that I call Consecrated Strike. You imbue your weapon with the will of your deity, and your next attack deals an extra d6 damage and creates a 10-foot radius of consecrated ground. Creatures that enter there or start their turn within the consecrated ground take damage equal to your spellcasting modifier. This is a different take on the official Smite spells currently within 5th edition. Without magic items, the consecrated ground would max out at about 5 damage, but realistically speaking, we're probably getting more on an average of 3 to 4 damage. Taking that into consideration, the damage is kind of minimal, but that's not important because the value here comes from the control granted from the consecrated ground. Enemies need to decide if they want to enter the danger zone or set their focus elsewhere. If they enter, they take anywhere from 2 to 5 damage based on your modifier, which isn't much, but it definitely adds up, especially since this lasts a minute and can affect multiple targets. This is one of those spells that value goes way up the more enemies you're dealing with. So if you ever find yourself facing down hordes of enemies, you can pull out the Consecrated Strike to hopefully give them a little bit of a pause. And finally, we come to the last spell for today, the 3rd level Incandescent Flare. You conjure a radiant pillar of light at a point you can see within 30 feet. The pillar sheds bright light 15 feet and then another dim light 15 feet past that, which reveals all invisible creatures. As an action on each of your turns, you can cause the flare to pulse, dealing 2d6 damage to all creatures within that range, but the damage is doubled against invisible creatures. I kind of look at this spell like a leveled up moonbeam. While the damage isn't amazing, All it takes are 4 enemies to take the damage that you just did equal to that of a fireball. It is, however, worth considering that this is concentration, and unlike Moonbeam, you can't move the flare once you create it. So if you ever need a really powerful and really dangerous nightlight, the Incandescent Flare has you covered. And that's all I have for today, but if you want to see more custom spells, you can check out the playlist in the description or over there. So far, I've released 15 unique spells with plenty more to come, so if you're interested in hearing more about them, make sure you hit that subscribe and bell button down below. Also, before we finished, I wanted to give a huge thank you to our YouTube members and patrons. All the names you see somewhere on the screen help support me in making content that we all get to enjoy, so if you see any of the names in the comment section below, be sure to give them a thumbs up. And finally, if you have any really cool spells of your own, leave a comment below and let me know. I read every comment, almost always reply, and who knows, I might even feature your spell in the next video. Thank you very much for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you on Friday.